Alright. QB here with Culturalist Theory, and today we're following up on our 2005 top 10 hip hop albums with a proper R&B related list. Not that we could have thought of any, but if there were any exceptional R&B compilations, mixtapes, or duet projects that we missed, drop a note in the comments. There were more than enough veterans and newcomers to craft some ear candy for us in the 05. If you haven't already subscribed and followed our page, no worries, you can fix that error right now. And while you're at it, our super thanks button could use a little love and affection as well. Now that the stage is set, let's dive into the 10 albums that'll be lighting up your screens today. Number 10, Chris Brown. We know. Breezy at number 10 sounds crazy. With bangers like Run It and Gimme That remix, he could have been higher on this list. Same could be said for his VA compatriot Trey Songz, who just missed the cut. But 05 was another stacked year for rhythm and blues, so credit to a babyface Breezy for making music for the 106 crowd, but we're going to mix it up a little and shine a light on the few artists making grown folks music with some bops along the way. CB set the tone out of the gate and was a phenom at just 16 years old in the musical lineage of Usher and Michael Jackson. Both of them started their careers young and proved to have substantial staying power. It's literally been almost 20 years since his album dropped, if you can believe that. This 59-minute work has 16 tracks, primarily handled by Sky Storch, Dre and Vidal, and the Underdogs. Once you account for the 5 singles, the remaining songs are fair filler to round out this project that would kickstart his storied career. If you're feeling a way about where this one landed, first, finish this video, and then check out our CB ranking and see how it stacks up against the rest of his catalog. Number 9, The Love Experience, Raheem DeVaughn. This neo-soul-ish newbie wastes no time getting off on the good foot, immediately letting the ladies know that every word in this song is gonna be about them on the album's most well-known single, You. The laid-back melody and his matching delivery marry one another seamlessly. The maker of Love then offers up trips all the way to heaven on the Boyz II Men sampling Ask Yourself. And if that seems too good to be true, his next command on the list for you is to just believe. DeVaughn continues to borrow some of the best soul samples that even your favorite rappers have put to work on joints like Until and Guess Who Loves You, in hopes of not totally alienating the fellas. And of course, there's an ode to one of man's most prized possessions, the simply named Cadillac. For the most part, it works, especially considering he's the only vocalist you'll hear across this 70+ minute experience. Radio Raheem is another artist you can follow up on right here on Culturalist Theory. Matter of fact, we'll just link to all the artists we've done in the description so you can check them out one by one after this. Number 8, The First Lady, Faith Evans. The First Lady of Bad Boy was one of the last artists to jump ship from the label helmed by its embattled chief exec, Sean Puff Daddy Combs. Whatever caused her to chuck up the deuces, she's never spoken out against him in public yet, so we may never know why. But the most important question would be, was she still able to bring it like she brought it way back when? Being a decade deep in the game by this point, Faith beeped her VA homies Pharrell Williams and Pusha T for the assist on the album opening Going Out, one of her most energetic tracks yet. But no sooner do we get through that one that her high heels are heavy on the pedal on Mesmerized. She transformed a low-key George Benson jazz tune into a loud and vibrant jam that's sure to knock you off your feet in the best of ways. And like her contemporary tweet mentioned on her album, Evans knows the way to a man's heart and taps directly into that on the love and sports metaphor-heavy Stop and Go. Jermaine Dupri scores 2 on True Love, which he co-produced with Brian Michael Cox, and the lead single again let us know how Faith Evans was tested and persevered during her hiatus. There's even a little Midwest flavor on here by way of Twista, on the uplifting finale Hope, a reworked version of the same song from his Kamikaze project the year prior. You might be surprised to know that it wasn't until this album that Faith would have her first #1 record. Not either the first 2 that went platinum or had her most recognizable hits, but this gold-selling gem. And with that, the First Lady proved that one bad boy don't stop her show. Number 7, Charlie, last name Wilson, Charlie Wilson. If Kels could reintroduce Ron Isley to a whole new generation, who's to say he couldn't get away with replicate that success with another player from way back looking to remain in the music game? Uncle Charlie gives much credit to Kelly for the assist in his mid-aught resurgence. Writing and producing a trio of songs, 2 of them turned out to be #1 hits, Magic, and of course, this one right here. Hey girl, how you doing? My name is Charlie. Last name Wilson. We'll never know why Robert chose to make him seem so Sahara Desert, throat dry, thirsty, but the only reason a direct link to Charlie wasn't in his bio is because we were still in the MySpace era. The real Charles Kent Wilson was happily married at the time, but all's fair in the name of entertainment, huh? Especially when it works, right? And being that Uncle Charlie is from the old school, he's had plenty of time to master ways of asking for the power you without getting too nasty, but making his request clear as glass. Exhibit A, asking questions. No, he's not asking any, because you know and he knows why you're in the dark, quiet space together at 2 a.m. Ooh-wee. The blemishes on this dozen track set are few, with the biggest disappointment being You Got Nerve. Most of the time when C-Dub hooks up with a C-walking, blue rag repping Snoop Dogg, it's an automatic fave. but not this time. It didn't matter much, as the project was officially certified gold less than 2 weeks before his outstanding follow-up record dropped bearing his beloved moniker. So whoever it was that said you can't teach an old dog new tricks has obviously never met this man named Charlie, last name Wilson. Number 6, Chapter 3, The Flesh, Selena Johnson. Miss Selena, so much more than the Mistress Johnson, isn't usually the first artist many people think of when they're ready to throw in some contemporary R&B. However, she was looking to change that with her third solo outing, Chapter 3, The Flesh, bringing along most of Chi-Town's best to help a sister out. And we say most of Chi-Town only because the brat is nowhere to be found due to her situation at the time. Or maybe she was somewhere to be found. Hey, if you know, you know. No worries though, because Common Sense and a budding Ye West delivered the goods on Bullseye suddenly, and Guinness World Record setter Twista slows his flow down enough for you to catch exactly what he's saying on the straight to the point phone sex. Because FaceTime didn't exist in 05. Of course, one of Chicago's most infamous couldn't miss out on the opportunity to represent, and fortunately, both of Robert's contributions are a boost to the overall value, meaning the single Hypnotic alongside Fabulous and Special Occasion are not to be missed. Kelly fans familiar with his catalog will quickly realize by the end of the latter, the track must have fell off his 04 double album. If you know why, go ahead and drop a line about it in the comments. However, Johnson's pen game commands just as much respect, especially since it covers 90% of the album, and it shows. Only Selena is pulling off songs like Leave Me Alone, Only a Woman, and A Seductive Slowly. Definitely put the kiddies away for that one. Number 5, Unpredictable, Jamie Foxx. Let's see, platinum and gold singles, check. Double platinum album preceded by a gold selling debut week, check. Sophomore project arriving on the same date and charting right behind a hip hop and R&B soul legend before eventually taking the top spot, check. These facts have led us to determine that the first album most people have heard of by Jamie Foxx was indeed unpredictable. Whereas fellow actor / music performer Will Smith had released his final entirely ignored album Lost and Found a few months prior, Foxx enlisted a solid enough supporting cast to ensure he wouldn't have to solely rely on the box office for success. Speaking of Smith dropping things, he done been gave us hints that somebody was about to catch these hands way before it actually happened in 2022.
People be messing with me, testing me, effing with me. I wanna send a message to them, teach them a lesson quickly.
Anyway, the Slow Jams trio is reunited here, although not all on the same track like before. Extravaganza with Kanye is a tale of situations you end up in when the liquor is in the driver's seat. Essentially, the precursor to the far superior Blame It on the Alcohol. Tornado Twisted continues his path of destruction on freaky love songs on the gold single DJ Play a Love Song. Then the West Coast slips and slides in the tank produced With You alongside Snoop in the Game. The oh so lovable Mary Jane steps in for the duet cover of the classic Love Changes. And of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention his #1 platinum hit with Chris Lova Lova, aka Ludacris, that all but took over VH1 Soul for months on end. Number 4, TB3 Reloaded, R. Kelly. This man's ink pen seemed to be endless by the time we rolled around to 2005, didn't it? And just how did he choose to exit the Steppers era? Oh, you know, just a silly little mini-series trapped in a closet that started out as a 5-part story on this album, which eventually evolved into a 33-part epic. Yeah, you heard right, 33 parts. The way the internet's been scrubbed mostly clean of all the Pied Piper's clips, we're not able to showcase it in the way we truly like to. Hopefully you copped all those DVDs though. Fortunately, the music on the third entry into the beloved 12-play series Outside of Closet's novelty is solid enough to warrant discussing and playing nearly 20 years following its origination, if he's still in your rotation. Top tier tunes to add to your Doing It list would include Touchin', that features Nivea, Put My T-Shirt On, and Sex, Love Is What We Making. We can say for certain that last one gave the green light for Keith Sweat's 08 jam, Just Wanna Sex You. Go listen for yourself and tell us what you think in the comments below. Sex Weed is highly infectious and will be hard for you to quit playing after just one hit, and In the Kitchen will have you thinking about tomatoes, potatoes, and tossed salads in ways you never thought possible. If it's queued up the next time it goes down in there, Kelly nor Culturalist Theory can be held responsible for any broken tables or chairs in your kitchen while this one's in play. As for jams not revolving around the art of making love, the best clip for us are going to be Reggae Bump Bump featuring Elephant Man, Play As Only with The Game, and Hit It Till Morning with Do or Die and Twista. Okay, well, so much for that last statement we just made. Like the other 12 plays before this one, throwaways such as the downright terrible Girls Go Crazy with Birdman and Kicking It With Your Girlfriend found their way onto here as well. But even with the stray shots lodged into TP3 Reloaded, the record did exceptionally well for Robert and will continue to heat up summers well past 2005. As always, we got a couple of honorable mentions that we gotta throw out there for you. So here's a few snippets from each of those albums right quick.
My man said heaven is a day.
I think we can get to know each other better if we.
No matter what the people say, I'm gonna love you anyway. You are my
We sure that you got your own personal favorites that are probably not going to be mentioned here, so go ahead and share them with the CT community for all to know down in the comments. And now, on to the top 3. Number 3, The Way It Is, Kesha Cole. Hailing from the same Oakland streets that Too Short and MC Hammer made famous, comes new kid on the block, Kesha Maisha Cole. With promises from Pac made on the same night as his untimely death to jumpstart her career up in smoke, it wouldn't be until the Barbershop 2 soundtrack's arrival in 2004 that Cole would be heard worldwide on Never featuring Eve. It would have been easy to overlook her with the song being on easy mode, rocking Luther's Never Too Much as its basis. Speaking of layups, later that year, she dropped the Yeezy-produced I Changed My Mind. Although her message in I Just Want It To Be Over left no question as to how she felt about said broken relationship, this in fact was only the humble beginning of her bright career. The song eventually topped the bubbling under Hot 100 chart. The album itself debuted and peaked at number 6 on the Billboard 200, pushing almost 90,000 units out the first week. The last 2 singles did even better, which was no surprise for the easily relatable I Should Have Cheated. However, if you were one of the early adopters of The Way It Is like we were, you would have never ever guessed that would have been put out as a single, much less become the best performing one. Cause the way those off-key notes hit us out of nowhere the first time we heard it. But as with all good love songs, if that raw emotion is there, not much else really matters. And that's truly this album's overall strength. Raw enough to capture every ounce of Cole's range of feelings with just enough polish for it to shine as a major label effort. Number 2, the breakthrough Mary J. Blige. When it comes to Mary's 7th studio album, to paraphrase fellow Yonkers native DMX, one thing a chick stay with is hot shit. This album wasn't automatic go from the moment it started, and the songs got better as the music played on. You won't be able to do anything but what the title track suggests, and that's to get your ass on the dance floor. Us golden era hip-hop heads immediately think of the Onyx classic Slam, as they both run off the same original sample from the Champ, as do countless other songs. And as Kesha had proven earlier in the year, reutilizing a jazz sample that Jehovah once implemented can yield favorable results. You don't know it by name off top, but when you hear this piano riff, be thankful for Lonnie Liston Smith's A Garden of Peace, because a lot of songs wouldn't be the same without it. Being that we're on the subject of Mr. 99 Problems but a bitch ain't one, of course he had to check in with Mary here, serving as her hype man full of ad-libs on the upbeat Can't Hide From Love. Keeping the good vibes flowing, we've still got Can't Get Enough of You in heavy rotation on top of NJB, the MVP, as she gives us gentle reminders of all her past hits in hip-hop and R&B form over 50 Cent's Hate It or Love It. We also love how she calls out her man's foolishness on Ain't Really Love. If you can pick out exactly which lines we're thinking of when we say that, type them down in the comments just for the hell of it. Remnants of Puff were sprinkled on the confidence building Good Woman Down, and the way she belts out her vocals on the Raphael Sadiq produced I Found My Everything will have you thinking she's the offspring of Aretha Franklin. Lead single Be Without You became her only other #1 hit in the 2000s outside the ubiquitous Family Affair, bringing home a Best Female R&B Vocal Performance Grammy to top it off. Just barely making it in before the end of 2005, on December 20th, the breakthrough debuted at the top of the Billboard 200 and the hip hop and R&B charts, took home the Best R&B Album Grammy, and is her last multi-platinum album. Number 1, Emancipation of Mimi, Mariah Carey.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years.
Well, the results of the evidence presented by MC on the project that pushed her studio album count into the double digits has determined that she has told nothing but the truth. The album title couldn't be more fitting, as Mimi was the highest selling album of 2005. Point blank, period. It moved more units in just over 3 months than Charm Bracelet and Glitter have combined over their entire lifespans. We'll dish on a dash of some of the other accomplishments achieved on this outing, but suffice it to say, Mariah was back to drill those stilettos directly in the neck of the music world. Immediately correcting a main misstep of Charm Bracelet, Jermaine Dupri produced twice as many tracks here, or 3 times as many considering the Ultra Platinum edition. Just like old R&B records from days past, the singles are up first, including the firecracker It's Like That, immediately followed by Mimi's most important and impactful song of the decade right here. Not only did this 2-time Grammy-winning track, alongside the next single Shake It Off, make her the first female to occupy the top 2 spots on the Billboard Hot 100, it also held the #1 spot on 9, that's right fam, N-I-N-E, 9 different Billboard charts all at the same time the week of August 6, 2005. I mean, we could just end the video right here and call it a day, but we're not done just yet. Together also became her 16th #1 hit, whereas Don't Forget About Us on the UPE became number 17. How many of y'all out there caught the fact that Stay the Night starts off the same way that John Legend's first single Used to Love You does? It glance at the credits here actually reveals that a young K West was the man responsible for both tracks, hence why they both still sound great 20 years later. Bonus points if you know whose voice it is being sampled here. Mr. Overnight Celebrity's appearance here is good on One and Only, but even better on his Part 2 remix that was produced by Darkchild. Other album gems that we love to keep spinning include the ballads Joyride, Mine Again, and the stellar Fly Like a Bird, but you know we're gonna keep it a buck plus with you. There are some occasional stumbles with the likes of Get Your Number and To The Floor featuring Nelly. However, we highly recommend going straight to the Ultra Platinum Edition with the additional tracks that easily overpower those duds. And for once, the Grammy guys made a solid decision, honoring the emancipation of Mimi with a Best Contemporary R&B Album trophy of the year following its release. It actually hasn't taken another one of those awards home since. Come on, Grammys. It might be time for that Lifetime Achievement Award, don't you think? Without question, Mimi's comeback was one of the epic proportions that couldn't have been better timed and one the fans have been anticipating for years. And what a year it was. We told you that 05 was stacked, so if you want to catch up on any of the artists that were mentioned here, including number 1, 2, and 3, check out the description for the links to those episodes. Or you can hit one of those bad boys on the screen. Take that. We love doing lists like this and all the feedback you share with us in the comments, so keep it coming. Once again, this is QB, and remember to hit that bell so you don't miss a list.